Welcome back, everyone. I'm Jason, and you're watching Jason Jensen Trains. We have a lot to cover in this episode. We're going to be building some rowboats. We're going to be building a large rusted metal tank that holds gas. We're going to be completing our bridge, and we're also going to be working on some utility poles. So let's head over to the workbench and get started.
Okay, so we're going to build some rowboats, and they're laser cut, and there's two of them here. These are the sides and the bottom and the trimmer on the top, and then there's two seats, two little benches that go across. Foscale Models used to sell these on their website. I don't know if they still do. I have a bunch of these, so we're just gonna build a few today to go in our harbor scene. So you can see I put a gray primer just with a spray can. Okay, let's try one with sand gray. And I'm going to lightly drag my brush over it so that it's kind of rough. We want it to look like the paint is chipping. Okay, now we'll take a little bit of light buttermilk, and we'll do just a little bit of dry brushing. Not much at all. Okay, now we're going to try maybe a gray one. We'll do a slate gray. I think these boats would be like, I don't know if they're made out of aluminum or little metal rowboats. That's the way I'm painting them. I broke all of the pieces out of, or cut them out of the sprue. So, now we'll do this one. We'll do this one maybe a little more solid, not quite as rough looking. Okay, maybe we'll do a little bit of dry brushing with pale gray. Okay, so that gives us two gray ones, two white ones. Now I'm going to do a teal color. Maybe we'll try mixing turquoise blue, sea breeze, and light avocado. I'm going to do another set since I have so much of this color mixed. Okay, so I've got the sides all glued on. Now we're going to put two benches in it. And you can see the benches have little lines on the ends so that you can fold those down and then put that in the boat. Now we'll put the trim around the top. Okay, so we've got 4 done and we've got 4 more to build. Now I definitely recommend curving the sides and getting them as close to possible to the correct shape before you glue them. And then glue your sides on with super glue. It would be nice if the bottom piece was thicker. It is so thin, and it's just takes some patience to glue that side to it. I suppose if you wanted to, you could cut that shape out of a thin piece of wood or a thin piece of task board. Something just a little bit thicker would make it a little easier, but if you just take your time, it works out. It does. And then with the little seats, I recommend scoring, running your knife over those lines once or twice. So it makes it easier to bend. And the benches can be glued on using Elmer's glue. That's fine. And then the trim that goes around the top can also be glued on with Elmer's glue if you want to. But I find it a little easier to glue those side panels on using super glue, because you don't have to just sit there and hold it. You can use the super glue and it dries pretty quick. So I'm starting to add some rust to the boats. And I'm using light rust, old rust, and chipping color. So I'll show you on one of these. So I start with light rust. Getting my brush a little wet. And we're just really doing some washes with this. Go around the edges of the benches. And it'll definitely go around the edge of the floor. We'll streak some down on the sides. Just making it random. No set pattern. If you want to, you can put little chips in it or scratches. And then we'll just put little streaks down from those nicks that we just made. Okay, then we'll move on to old rust. And now everywhere where we put the light rust, we'll go right in the center of it with the old rust. And I'm also going along the edges, just on the very edge, the edge of the benches. And we can do some streaks with this one too. As the paint starts to dry on your brush, you can do a little bit of brushing. Then we'll go to the chipping color, which is the darkest. We'll do very, very little of this. We'll just put some dots in the center of where the rust is already at. Okay, let's take these over to the layout and see where they'll look best. Okay, so let's get our stake put in place. And I'm just using a toothpick. And you can see I stained the end of it. I'm going to start the hole with my drill. I just didn't want to risk breaking the end of the toothpick, getting through that layer of dirt and glue. Okay, there's our little stake, and now we'll get our rope wrapped around it and glued in place. I'll cut the end off of that. Okay, now we'll do the same on this side. Again, just a regular toothpick, and I stained the end of it. I poked a little hole. And it goes pretty easy into the styrofoam. Alright, we'll push that down a little bit. Okay, now I do have to fill this in and put some planks in there, and then we'll cut the end of our rope on both sides. Okay, we have that side done, and that side is done. I'm working on another project over here. I'm putting in a big tank that would hold the gas. Now this tank is meant to go stand up like that, but I want it to lay down, but it doesn't have a bottom, so I have to add a circle to that and then paint this, rust it up, put it on there. Let me zoom out a little bit. Sorry. And then we'll run a wire out of the front of it towards the bottom underneath over to the gas pump. And then we'll put a ladder going down right there and get this all glued in place. There are the boats that I made. Those again are from Foscale Models. And then I also made this small footbridge. So making some progress. Starting to get my little planks and walkways all cut and put in place. They're not glued yet. So I've painted the tank, and what I used was this. It's a satin, and it's called Hunt Club Green. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a wash over it of raw umber, and this is going to tone it down. Now if you notice, I'm brushing it down. I don't want, if there are any brush strokes that show, I don't want them going this way. I want them to go this way because the rain and water would wash down the sides of it. Okay, already this is dulling down that satin finish. I think this is going to end up looking really nice. Okay, I'm going to dry this quick and then do the ends. Okay, I'll hold this up so that you can see it. Okay, next we're going to take some burnt umber. And we're just going to go across the top and then maybe halfway down the sides. I'm going to use a small brush, get in the areas where the sponge won't reach. Okay, now maybe let's do some burnt sienna. I'm just going straight across the top and then a little bit on the edges. Okay, I'll hold this up. Hopefully you'll be able to see the different colors on it. Okay, I think that's all we'll do with the paint. Now we'll just take some pastel chalk and add a little bit of rust to it. Okay, here's our little pier that it sits on. Okay, now we'll take our engine oil. Okay, after I put the engine oil on, I put a little bit of the black and raw umber on it too. I also painted some lamp posts and got them put in place. And I painted them to match the bridge. And those two are from Foscale Models. When you buy them, they come completely black. It's a black plastic. And it's 3 pieces. You get the post, the clear plastic piece right there, and then the top. So you just paint it and glue it together, and I think they look great. Next, I have to finish my bridge. So as you can see, I painted the side pieces for the bridge and just added lots of rust and grease. Alright, now we'll take these over to the layout and get them glued in place. Here are the sides put in place. It's not a working bridge, so I'm not too concerned about being exact with it. It's more just for looks. I'm going to show you real quick how I make my utility poles. So I start out with these. And you can get these really cheap. I've actually picked up a bunch of these at garage sales. So the first thing I do is, let's see, let's pick one. We'll pick this one right here. So the first thing we're going to do with this is cut the base off. Then if you want, you can cut off one of the arms or leave it. I'm going to cut off the top arm just to show you. So I'm cutting it at an angle. Then you can see there's still some little arms on it. We'll just trim those off. Now, with your saw, we're going to add texture to it. Let me use this piece of wood. Sorry, I'm trying to do this at an angle where you can see what I'm doing. So by having on the piece of wood, those can hang down. Okay, and then do the top and then do the arms. As you can see, it really doesn't take too long. Okay, then you have a lot of extra little fuzz. I don't know if you can see all the fuzz on it. So you just take your knife and scrape that off. Now that you have the wood texture on it, what I did was I mixed desert sand and Mississippi mud. There's desert sand and Mississippi mud. And then painted the entire thing. Then after it completely dries, there's little metal crossbars. I used burnt umber. Painted the cross arms. Then I think I mixed light avocado and a little bit of the sea breeze. After everything is dried, now you're done with all your color. Mix up, take black and mix a lot of water with it and put a wash over the entire thing. And if you take a clothespin, you can just let it sit there and dry. Let me show you the ones that I have. Hopefully you can see the texture on it. And then here is a single armed one. Okay, so with some time and patience, you can make this little toy-like thing look like real wood. And that's how I do it. Now if you want to add some detail to it, you can do a section at the bottom where they've painted it white. Now I do realize that some people make these. They use a wooden dowel. They put strip wood across for the arms. You can actually get small little beads to put on there. You can fully make these, but like I said, the plastic ones are so inexpensive. I don't want to go to the trouble of making them all for my layout, and when my layout is all finished, there's going to be a lot of these over the entire layout. So I'm just going to use the plastic ones and use the technique that I just showed you and paint them all.
Well, as always, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope it was inspiring and hopefully you learned something new from it. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, happy modeling everyone.